Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome to the recap. This week, I'm joined by good old Brad, as I get his 5 takeaways from the Blues 1-0 defeat at Rotherham on the weekend. Brad, thank you very much for joining me. First, before we get into the takeaways, how are you? And had a good Easter weekend?
Hello, Ross. I'm good. Thanks for having me back. Yes, I've had a nice weekend. I haven't really done a lot because we've all had really bad colds, and you can probably hear I'm quite nasally. So I've enjoyed the family time at home. Of course, I have, but we haven't really been out much. But yeah, all good here, and hope you're well as well. So yeah,
Yes, my friend. A lot of Easter eggs consumed. I'm sure you've
yes,
had a lot of Easter eggs as well with your young daughter.
yeah,
But let's get into the defeat. We're trying our best to stay away from it as long as possible because it's a standard TV curse game. We lost on TV and we lost against Rotherham for the fourth straight time. Your first takeaway is, it's got to be mentioned, is the Norwood miss. I just watched it back before coming on this video, and it's actually worse than I thought. Because
yeah.
from my angle, it weren't too bad, but when you watch it back, it was a bad miss, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a horrendous miss. And I watched it on Sky. I watched it at home. I didn't go. Credit to everyone that went when it was a dead rubber for us. Absolutely fantastic support. You could have stayed at home and watched it and consumed Easter eggs, but well done to all of you. Yeah, I watched it and watched it at home, and yeah, that the angle I had is obviously the TV angle. And when the ball goes through from Aluko to Burns, you think, well, that's just seemed to be taking an age for Burns to get onto the ball and then get the cross in. You think the defenders are coming back, chance is kind of gone, the defender will come back and just put it out behind. I don't know if that's what put Norwood off because the cross was so good, um, so on point that I think it took him by surprise. But what a shocker of a miss, an absolute shocker. I mean, he knows it himself. And the trouble is for me that he's done that too many times over the last few years. I can think of numerous times where the ball's come across the box, and that's just something which he's not great at, is it? His time and his finishing when the ball's coming in the box like that. He's got a lot of qualities, Norwood, but God, if you're going to get out of this league and if you're going to be anywhere you want to be, you've got to be finishing chances like that. It's a real gilt-edged chance, and people like Michael Smith up the other end of that pitch, Rotherham, he'd put that away. Yeah, anyone should really put that away. But yeah, shot and miss, which changed the course of the game, I think, because if we go 1-0 up there, who knows what happens?
Indeed. And your second takeaway is just your overall thoughts on the game. And yeah, if that goes in, Rotherham on under a lot of pressure. Their fans, the atmosphere would have changed in that ground, and it was a very competitive first half, very high
Yeah,
tempo, a lot of stoppages in the game, a lot of set pieces, which is what Rotherham do, and they got their goal from pretty much a set piece. But yeah, your thoughts overall on the game.
yeah, the stop-start nature of the game that suited Rotherham, and that's what they tried to do. They didn't really want, as McKenna said, they didn't really want the ball in play too much. It suits them having set pieces and long throws, and it just makes it a horrible game to watch when you're the fan of a team who's trying to play the football. Um, First half, I think we were, like you say, really competitive, and I think if you were a neutral watching the game, you'd probably think which team here is in third because we knock the ball about lovely, don't we? We keep it well. Some of the patterns are very very good, but at the same time, we weren't really hurting Rotherham. And I just think if we were able to get that goal through Norwood, then we could have just sat back a little bit and just picked them off on the counter attack because they'd have really felt the pressure and need to come at us then. Um, and then second half just turned pretty horrible, didn't it? I mean, you kind of knew the goal was coming. So many set pieces, and so many times we just gave away stupid free kicks. Like I'm sure that had to have been said that look, don't give away silly free kicks where they can put the ball in the box. But I lost count of the amount of times we did that. The ball came in, and eventually it dropped, and it dropped to Smith. And they saw it out. And to be honest, at the end of the game, I was thinking, is there a sort of a well, I'm sure that there hasn't been said that, but it almost looked like we want to get Rotherham promoted in a way which the body language of the players was like, okay, we're kind of on the beach here. Come on, ref, blow the final whistle after the 9 minutes or 8 minutes added on time, whatever it was. Um, but yeah, it was a typical Rotherham classic, which they did on us once again. And if we're going to get better, and if we're going to get out of this league, we've got to be better at what we do. Simple as.
Indeed, and we're going to mention Rotherham again. This is an Ipswich Town video, but we're going to be talking about Rotherham because they're a case of a team that knows how to get out of this division. And it does bring us a reminder that McKenna's still got a lot of work to do to get out of this league. And that is your next takeaway: is can we do a Rotherham where we just try to get out of this league?
Yeah. Well, I like the way we play, but it's difficult to do it in League One because unless you're going to go out and buy real quality footballers, which we have done, we have got a lot of quality players in there, but they need to be strong to it as well. They need to be up for it every single game, and you can't like slack off in this league. Even if you go away to Shrewsbury or someone, one bit of quality from them is going to kill you, and you draw. So with Rotherham, they're like that every single week, and they don't give you any time. They harry you, they press you. Every time the ball went into Selena, there was like 4 men around him, and they're just simply very good at what they do in a way which we were really good at what we did when we were under McCarthy. And if we want to be getting out of this league this time next year, then McKenna has got a bit of work to do, because if you look at it, we keep the ball well, but we didn't really hurt Rotherham much, did we? I mean, I think possession can sometimes be misconstrued as dominance, where if you actually look back at the game, we pretty much played the whole game in our half. Even when we're keeping the ball, it's never in areas where it's sustained around the opposition penalty box. Whereas Rotherham in that second half, they were able to get the ball forward quickly to Smith, and it will hold it up and be able to work it in around him. And that's my trouble with us as well, is that we have no focal point, and that I think we desperately need that hold up man who can drill the ball into his feet, and you can have the likes of Aluko and Selena working off him, rather than Selena and Aluko having to drop so deep to get the ball. So we all know that striker signing this summer is going to be the most important one. But yeah, Rotherham, like we say, are just a classic case of being good at what you do. They do it very well. It might not be good enough in the Championship, but Paul Warne knows how to get his team out of League One, and hopefully this time next year we will be flying, playing wonderful football, playing teams off the park, but we're just not quite there yet.
Definitely. And let's end the recap with 2 positive takeaways. The first takeaway is got to be Luke Wolfordon's marauding run. What a run that was indeed. I had an amazing angle on it. I was on the side and I just watched him. What a run that was. And I'm sure on TV they had a great angle as well. And what assist. That would be the greatest assist of all time for Ipswich Town if that actually went off there.
Yeah, but would have been a great assist. But God, I just wanted him to hit it. I really wanted him. But it was a dead rub end of season game. Like normally in that situation, I'd say square it, someone's wide open. But I really want him to just go for glory there, because that would have been one of the goals of the season, or even the last few years for Ipswich. Yeah, Wolfie, he's playing so well at the minute, and I've been one of his biggest critics in a way, where I've always felt that he's not quite been there defensively, but in the free he's a bit more protected, and he's able to do what Luke Wolfenden does best, and that's carry the ball out the back. And when he went on that run where just beat like 3 or 4 players, didn't he? And moments like that on Sky, for scouts are going to be watching that and thinking, "God, we quite like some of that in the Championship." So you never know. It might be a couple of bids for Wolfie this summer. He has been playing very well, and he probably does deserve that. But that's what he can do, and he's made that position his own. And yeah, now in our next bit, we're going to talk about another man who came in yesterday and made that position probably his own for the next few weeks anyway. But yeah, credit Wolfie, and that's just a shame that it didn't end in the goal. It was probably the main moment of the game.
It was, because I just remember watching so many Rotherham players just falling over. He nutmegged the player, and it was just like, oh, if that went off, that would have been amazing. But as you said, he should have just took a shot. Yeah, why not, mate? What you got to lose? I'm sure no one would have been moaning at you, because that was an amazing run from his own half to their Rotherham's box. It was amazing. And you've already mentioned him already, not by name, but Alcon Baggott making his league debut for the club. And he did all right, didn't he? Decent game for himself, playing against Rotherham United, who are a very good side. Got some big boys. Michael Smith having to battle against him. He did himself proud, and he's got a big future ahead of him.
He did very well, and you could see that the game plan from Rotherham was to, once they saw that team sheet, I'm sure, move Smith onto Baggott. And to be honest, yeah, Smith won most in the air, but he'd win most in the air against anyone. He'd certainly win most in the air against Wolford and Danassian. But Elkin was very composed. I remember watching that Youth Cup semi-final against Liverpool, where he already to me looked like a player who was playing basically with a pipe and slippers on. He just looked like it was just so easy for him. And even yesterday, he's almost got that. He's not laid back, but he just looks so composed and self-assured in his passing. He's got a real weapon of a left foot there, where he can really drill a ball out the back to get a player in down the sides, where which could be a bit of a weapon next season. You think of Edmondson switch and play really quickly, or Elton looks like he can do that with his left foot. And he's a big, strong lad. Loved in Indonesia. Probably had like 5 million viewers on Saturday. I don't know, but yeah, a really good debut, and he's certainly got the physical attributes to make it. I think certainly going forward the next few games, I want to see him start for every game. I know people are saying that hopefully I'll get a League Two loan next season and start every week. And yeah, to be honest, I don't think we'll be looking to pin our hopes on a 19-year-old centre half going forward next season. Because obviously we don't have Corey and Darby coming back, and might even look to sign centre half anyway. But as league debuts go, against the top striker in the league who scored 25 goals that season, he was brilliant. He did everything right. He didn't really put a foot wrong. Even Smith's goal, it was so unfortunate because he made a great block on the line, which just fell straight to Smith. So he actually saved the goal previous to that. He can be really proud, and a really good day for him. I mean, there must have been so much pressure on him. He must have felt it himself anyway to do that on Sky, knowing so many people were watching. But yeah, well done, Elkin.
Indeed, and one thing I liked about it is his parents were in the away end as well, which I'm sure they were proud seeing their son playing against Rotherham. Didn't get a clean sheet on his debut, but a big future ahead of him. And final note, Brad, we've got Wigan, of course, on Tuesday night. Of course, it's going to be today on Easter Monday, but you know what? Sky ruined it and all that sort of stuff. One thing we got on common with Wigan, they lost against Cambridge on the weekend. We did the same. How are you feeling going into that one? I know you can't go because shifts and stuff. Sky doesn't think of that. But
No.
It's just an opportunity to finish the season off strong. And, you know, if we can beat a team like Wigan, who are fighting to actually win the league title, can we stop their party?
I think we can, because like you said, Cambridge went to beat them. So Cambridge have single-handedly ended our season in the space of a couple of weeks, didn't they, when they beat us and then lost to Wigan. But yeah, Cambridge are a funny side. But yeah, Wigan, they slipped up. You see MK Dons, well, say slip up. Sheffield Wednesday did a job on them. So yeah, there's no reason why we can't win tomorrow night. They're certainly a bit more expansive than what Rotherham are, so it'll be a game of football. And yeah, I think we could win. I mean, if you think back to, that's a bit of a silly thing to say. It was years ago when because I just remember we were actually in the playoffs at the time when we beat them 1-0, and I think we were top of the league, weren't we, with Darren Bent when he scored the winner. But yeah, I see no reason why we can't beat them tomorrow, because if you actually look at the teams on paper, and they've got Will Keane, Breon Edwards, who were both starting at the weekend, and they were deemed not good enough for us a couple of years ago. And I just think that when you look at our team on paper and what it could be, we're just not quite there yet. It's just so much potential there. And Wigan have had Liam Richardson, who's done so well for them, and they're going to get promoted. And just a bit of jealousy, really, where I just feel like we should be getting out of this league, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm having to, I won't be watching because I'm on late shift, the team tomorrow night, where yeah, they might beat us, but they're not as good as what they probably people think they should be when they're first. Like I said, it was a question of who was third and who was ninth in that game Saturday first half, weren't it? So, but yeah, hopefully we get a win and end the season on the high, because we don't want to let it fade too much, because I saw a stat that it was 14 points from the last 10 games. So we really want to try and get a home win tomorrow and finish the season on the high going into next season.
Indeed, my friend. And thanks very much for joining me. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts, your feelings going into the final 3 games of the season. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll be back for more videos soon. See you then.